Do you ever see another player in game and think to yourself, damn, they look good, dressed all up in some cool looking armor, but you have no idea what those armor skins even are? Armor skins are all acquired in very different ways. Some are easy to get, some are a little difficult, and then some do require quite a lot of a commitment. Today I'd like to focus on some armor skins that are relatively easy to get and still look pretty good. Now the topic of armor is very subjective. Armor skins can be mixed and matched, dyed different colors, styled different ways. So if styled well, pretty much any armor skin can look good. But if you disagree that any of the armors in this video look good, that's okay. I've tried to keep a mix of armor from the base game, the expansions, and the different weight classes, so there should be a bit of a mix here. Also, just keep in mind, this is not meant to be a gearing guide of any kind. It also won't be a deep dive of every armor in every category. There are way too many to cover to be doing that. This is just a showcase of some good looking armor and where to get it. We're going to start with armor sets available in the base game, so everyone should have the ability to get these, even if you're a brand new player. First off, while completing renowned hearts out in the world, these NPCs can sell you armor for karma, and some of these armors have some really good looking skins. Now there are a lot of them, so I'm just going to show you 4 of my favorites. 2 light sets, the Dry Bones armor and the Stately armor. Dry Bones is pretty cheap. I'm pretty sure the cheapest version can be bought in Snowden Drifts. This set looks great. It's one of the rare ones that actually looks good on every race, male and female. It's clearly designed with necromancers in mind, but even still, it's a solid set that can be acquired pretty early on in the game. Stately armor, you can get these ones cheap in Bloodtide Coast and Iron Marches. I think this set looks best on Human, Norn, and Solvari, and a little bit better on the female model than the male. But the different dye channels on this set really let you style it well with all the different colors available. Next up are 2 heavy sets, the Pit Fighter and Dark Templar set. Cheapest version of the Pit Fighter set can be bought in Gandharan Fields or Kessex Hills. This is another set that looks pretty good on any race, and it shows a lot of skin if you're into that, which actually can be pretty good for Char and Norn. That way on Char you can see the fur pattern, and Norn you can see their tattoos. Dark Templar set, this one looks really cool, unless you're Char, in that case it looks terrible. This set can be acquired a little bit later in the game in Fireheart Rise or any of the maps on Ore. Now you may be wondering why no medium sets. Well, the medium sets in this category I think all look very similar, and I'm not much of a fan of any of them. But just so you know, they are there, so if you're interested, check them out. I'll also include the Temple armor sets, although I'm not much of a fan of them, except for the light set. That one's pretty good. You can get any of these from the Karma merchants at the Temples of Ore, the Temple of Balthazar, Lissa, Melandru, Duena, Grenth, even the Gates of Ara. However, keep in mind, these do cost quite a lot of Karma. I believe a full set costs around 252,000 Karma. So I would say only get these if you really like them, or if they happen to be a stat combo that you're actually using. Next up is Dungeon armor. There are a lot of armor sets available by completing dungeons. Once you get enough of the dungeon delving tokens, you can use those to buy whatever armor you like. Most dungeons are pretty easy to do, except for maybe Ara, which can be a little tough sometimes. There's a lot of armor sets to list, so I'm just going to list a few of my favorites. Codicus Manor, these are very nice looking sets, and fun fact, some Seraph NPCs wear these pieces as well. Twilight Arbor, these are great looking sets, especially for a Solvari character. Personally, I always thought Solvari looked the best in these natural plant life looking armor sets. For Solvari, these armors will slightly change their base color depending on your character's skin color. They even have a little bit of bioluminescence, so they glow in the dark too. Citadel of Flame, a great looking animated armor set. All these little flames around the armor are actually animated. I really like the light and medium armor sets here, and for Char, the light armor sets your tail on fire. And finally, Ara. The Ara armor is another set that I think looks great on pretty much any race. Now, something to keep in mind about dungeon armor. They have a level requirement of 80, and they come with set stat combos that might not be optimal. If you're just after these to unlock the skin, then none of that matters to you. But if you're a new player just making it to level 80, maybe just check to see if these stat combos will actually work for you before buying them. Craftable armors. Some of the craftable armor sets have really good skins as well. These armor sets can all be crafted at different levels of armor crafting, but if you want the required level, you can also just buy them off the trading post. There are 2 light armor sets that I like, the Acolyte and the Winged set. Acolyte armor requires 150 Tailor level. Acolyte looks really good, except for the mask, which looks kind of weird to me, and Winged requires 225 Tailor level. And now the Winged set is interesting. The female version was clearly designed with a specific style in mind, so if you're into that, There you go. Heavy armor also has two good sets, the Gladiator and Barbaric set. Gladiator requires 125 armor smith level, and Barbaric requires level 300 armor smith. Both of these sets can be really interesting on Char and Norn. Since they show a lot of skin, it really allows you to see the fur pattern or tattoos, which otherwise pretty much always gets covered up. Once again, I skipped the medium armor in this category for the same reason as I did before, but if you're interested, they do exist. Next, I want to talk about cultural armor. Every race has 3 tiers of cultural armor with different level requirements, 35, 60, and 80. Cultural armor is great since each of them were actually designed specifically for the race, so it will fit the body types and match the style of the race really well. Some of my favorites are the Norn, the Human, and the Sylvari sets. You can find the vendors for these in every capital city. They're indicated on the map. But just a fair warning, some of these armors can be pretty expensive to buy, so if that concerns you, either save up for them or decide for yourself if it's worth it spending that money to unlock the skin. Next is the Order armor sets. Each of the Tyrian orders, the Vigil, the Priory, and the Order of Whispers, all have their own unique armor sets. And once you join whichever order, you can buy the armor. So if you want to unlock all of these, you're going to have to play through the story again with another character and select a different order once you reach that point in the story. The armor sets look pretty good though. There's a set for every weight class, and the pieces even look pretty good on their own. You can buy these from the armor smiths in any order headquarters, so Vigil Keep, the Derman Priory, or the Chantry of Secrets. Also, a whole set costs around 8 gold, so not that expensive. Some of my favorites here are the Vigil Heavy set, the Vigil Light set, the Priory Medium and Light set, and the Order of Whispers Medium set. Okay, now moving on, I would like to mention some armor sets and armor pieces that are a bit beyond the core game. Ones that are part of the Living World story or the expansions, so if you're at that part of the game, great. But if not, maybe just make note of these and work towards them later. Carapace armor. Carapace armor can be obtained by completing steps of the Living World story or looted from chests in the Silver Wastes. These sets all look great and lots of potential to be styled in unique ways however you want. The sets as a whole even look great. Bladed armor. Now, the bladed armor is kinda hit and miss. Personally, I only like the light armor set. There's a few prerequisites for this armor, but they're pretty easy. The bladed armor can be bought from the Itzel Mastery vendors in the Heart of Thorns map. To use these vendors, you need the Itzel Language Mastery, which costs 2 mastery points. The armor comes in boxes and they cost 500 airship parts and 1 gold for each box. And airship parts are earned by completing events in Verdant Brink. Elonian and Spear Marshal armor. Over in Path of Fire, these 2 sets are worth mentioning. Again, these ones are also hit and miss. Personally, I only really like the medium set. Both sets are very similar in appearance. The Elonian set is awarded upon completing story steps for Path of Fire, so just play through the Path of Fire story and you'll get all of them. If you want the Spear Marshal version, you're gonna have to craft them by buying the recipes from NPCs. Or you can actually just buy the named version of these armor pieces from the trading post. They are pretty cheap, they each cost less than a gold, so maybe just do it this way. The Ebon Vanguard Shoulders, these are a really cool armor skin. I love them. You can buy them from the vendor in Eye of the North for Tyrian Defense Seals. Or you can get them as a rare drop from the Shiver Peak Pass Strike mission or from various Strike mission loot boxes. Or you can just skip all of that and just buy it from the trading post. It's not that expensive. Hellfire and Radiant Gloves. I'd like to include these since they are very cool skins and they're not difficult to get at all. They are part of a full armor set, the Hellfire and Radiant set, which you unlock by reaching certain achievement point levels. The gloves, however, you unlock after only 3,000 achievement points, which in the grand scheme of things, not that much. So if you're a new player, it shouldn't take you that long to reach this level. Just keep in mind though, when you get to that level, you can only choose one or the other. Whichever one you don't choose will become available later, but at a much higher achievement point level. Fused Gauntlets. If you like the vibe of those Hellfire Gauntlets, then the Fused Gauntlets might interest you. You can get these in a couple of ways. You can complete the Alliance Breaker achievement, which is part of the Flame and Frost story episode, or you can just buy them from a Laurel merchant. You can buy the Fused Gauntlet ticket for 25 laurels and 15 gold. There are a few other old armor skins you can buy in this same exact way, so you can have a look at those too, but I just think the Fused Gauntlets are the best of the bunch. I like to use these on my warrior who's got like a Fire Knight themed outfit. Hound Skin Mantle. This is probably one of my personal favorite shoulder armor skins, and it's pretty easy to get. If you have access to the Flashpoint story step in Living World Season 3, all you have to do is complete the Flashpoint Mastery achievement, which will require you to complete 20 other Flashpoint achievements. But if you play World vs. World or PvP, you can just complete the reward track and get the Houndskin mantle from the loot box at the end. So you can decide for yourself which method is easier for you. Also, before we end, I would like to point out the armor set page on the wiki. This will give you a full list of all armor sets, and you can search through them and apply different filters. So this way you can search through all of these, and if you see a set you like, you can actually see how you go about collecting it. And also, head over to the bank wardrobe tab and preview what any armor set might look like before you buy it. Pretty much every armor set is available for preview in this way. You know, like I explained in the beginning, armor is a little bit difficult to discuss in regards to what looks good, because you will likely reach a point where you will fully customize your outfit with a mix of different armor pieces and dye colors. If you stop and look closely at any player, you'll notice that this is pretty much what everybody eventually does. And I'm sure there are many other good-looking armor sets out there that are pretty easy to acquire, but we can only fit so much into one video. But if there are any other armor skins out there that I missed that you feel like you want to shout out, feel free to share with the group. Thank you for watching if you happen to make it this far, and bye for now.